Alright guys, so this last video on building the clamps for the slingshots is going to probably be my worst ever editing nightmare. So be forewarned, it's going to be a little blocky and a little sketch, but I'm going to try to keep everything on point, just so y'all can get the grasp of how we use the bands. Alright, so stick with me. Alright, so I like to use a different species of wood for my clamps. You want your clamps to be 3/4 by quarter thick. And you can see I have this marked out in 1/4 inch increments. Alright. Alright, so once you get that all clamped in your vise, you're going to need a marking knife or a point carver and a 1/4 inch, which it's actually just shy of 1/4 inch, flat chisel. And you're just going to go down your lines. You do want to mark this first with a marking knife. Otherwise you're going to get splits and cracks, and you're going to be very much so annoyed. Because even drawing lines, it does annoy me from time to time. You're only going to need 2 pieces about 1 inch wide. The piece I made longer here, for one, usually when I make these, I make a set of spares. So like I said, just get down. My hands are getting a little numb. But when you work with them every day, your hands tend to get a little fatigued. So I never like to go to the very edge. I always come in just a little bit, and I'm going to start pulling out my carve here. And that's pretty close to all the deeper you have to go with these. Virtually this is going to be a horseshoe clamp. So it's going to be a horseshoe shape. Your band is going to be along your Y, and then this clamp's just going to, and it's going to squish your band right down. You need to make that noise too when you talk about clamps. The all right. So when you get your channel cut, like I said, it doesn't have to be super deep, just enough. I typically say double the band thickness. And then I flip my chisel over, so I put the taper down. And you can see what I do in here. I just use that to... You have a lot of control over depth of cut with your chisel being upside down. You can still dig. You can still make mistakes. But when you're cutting back towards yourself, it makes it just a little extra bit of security. Alright. And then when you're done there, that's not the one I wanted. This one. You're going to need a fairly shallow gouge. And you're just going to take that sharp edge off. That's pretty much it. Whew. And that's why you wear cut-proof gloves. Although it just bounces off because my hands are pretty much made of callus and iron at this point. And I know I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. If you are new to carving, wear cut gloves, wear something to protect your hands. You guys haven't seen these carvers much. These are some of my real old ones. I love these. And then I'm going to come down through And same thing, just gonna take this outside edge off. All right, I'm gonna pull this out of the clamp so you can see what it looks like. So that is all it is. Real simple. Just a real shallow U clamp. Alrighty, next step, you're going to take your clamp and you are going to place it just below your radius. Okay, so just like that. Mark, 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 mark. And then I, just for added security, take and cut. Remember, kids, don't cut towards yourself unless you're carving, then it's acceptable. Mark. Mark. All right, there. So we got our marks here for our outlines for our clamp. And like I said, these are just going to sit there just like that, and they're going to clamp those bands in place. So now that we have our marks, and marks pretty popular today, I'm going to go back through with a marking knife, kick that over. You guys still here? Let's get you over here. I'm going to run some of these marks a little deeper. If you're not comfortable using a marking knife, you can go through with a flat chisel and just tap your chisel down in. It is probably a little easier for a beginner just to use a flat chisel or even a straight carving knife, but all right, and same thing. Just going to bring this narrow flat chisel out and I'm going to work down this edge. When we get to the end, don't worry about this being rough at this point. We will go back through and clean that all up. Right now we're just getting our initial cuts done. And then we're going to take our clamp piece, make sure it fits in there nice. And now we already know, well, that's the wrong marking knife. So you can use just a flat carver here. And I cheat sometimes. I'll just take my 1/4-inch carver. Right. So I'll mark that out a little heavy. And we're just going to undercut this top just a little bit deeper than the rest of it. And if you do a good enough job, you can get it all out of there pretty much in one pass. Alright, be right back. Alrighty, so after you get your notches cut, get that chip out of there. Same as before, take your gouge, and we're just going to break off any sharp edges. This one got a little saber-toothed on me there. Kind of like me. Oh, I can't wait for Thursday. Alrighty, so now we've got... That one's still a little tight, so take... There we go. Then we get your piece of, well, I used walnut. Your piece of walnut in there, get a good tick mark, and we're gonna go cut that. All right, so I lost a clip there. Sorry for the motion sickness that's about to happen. Oh. So I'm gonna cut these, and I just make two the same because I'm gonna end up sanding these corners down anyway. I just needed to get them to a rough length. All right, drill them out with a 1/4 inch hole, and then I like these. They're a flat cabinet, heavy wood screw. These I just happen to have. These are plastic screws for steel chainsaws. And they take a T27, so if you don't have a T27, go to the hardware store and get flat cabinet based screws for yourself there. You're going to need an 1/8 inch drill bit. You're going to center this up the best you can. It ain't got to be. It's a slingshot, not a sniper rifle. Okay, check my depth of cut. So we're 1 inch deep. So that should get all the threads. Don't touch hot drill bits, they don't like it. Or at least I don't like it. If you do end up, and I haven't yet, but if you do end up drilling all the way through like that, it's not going to hurt anything. Eventually, you will end up having to put like 1/4-20 bolts and nuts to hold everything together, because it will eventually wear down. But I'm going to take that, set that through. These steel ones that are made for plastic, I have noticed, at least for myself, that these tend to last longer because these will cut a thread through and as long as you follow that thread, these will last quite a while. And it's pretty cool to have steel chainsaw screws on your slingshot. At least I think so, anyway. You can use husky ones too, if you're that kind of guy. It does not matter to me. Steel's better. If you do end up drilling all the way through, like I said, it's not a big deal. I like to run my screws in so they're holding everything down good and tight. What am I doing? I built a chisel table to hold all of my carvers, and it's still a work in progress, but definitely making this part easier. And now it's just finished sanding, and we'll get a band in this and we'll see how it does. Alrighty guys, so back. I got the all sanded, got its finish put on. It's just my beeswax, boiled linseed oil, mineral oil finish. I heat sink it in, hit it with the buffing wheel. Instead of pinning it, I decided to do just a real simple Dutchman to hold the crack. I don't know. Again, always trying to find ways to keep up on my carving, woodworking skills. Oh, I forgot something. Be right back. Sorry about that. Alright, now that everything's done, everything's fitted, and it's going to stay together for a while. Same thing. I dip these down in my beeswax finish, and all that's for one, it's going to lubricate the threads. For two, it's going to create a little bit of friction and melt the wax. And when that hardens again, it's just going to help keep these screws in there nice and tight. Now I'll show you how the notch system works. If you're pretty new or are new to slingshots, these are slingshot bands. A couple different places sell them. I like to shoot mine with the rough leather in, and I also like to shoot a fairly long band, so I fold the band over about an inch. The band goes in your top notch. You put your walnut plug in the notch. Maybe a smart man would start the screw first. There we go. Get your screw started first. I said fold that over about an inch. Then you want to bring your walnut plug down over the band. Just thread it in. Now with these walnut plugs, you do not want to over torque them because they will crack. We don't want to crack them. You don't have to have them in there ridiculously tight, and it'll hold. It's not going to go anywhere. bring your other band up and around. Same thing, fold over about an inch. Hold that with one hand while you set your block. My walnut blocks, I did the same thing. They got put in my beeswax finish. I talk about that a lot, and I hope people don't get sick and tired of it. It's a super old finish mixture. It has been around forever, and anybody that has gotten one of my spoons or one of my spatulas that has commented on the finish like it's some type of new idea, and it's really not. Beeswax finishes have been around for a super long time. Indians used to use beeswax or waxed gourds for canteens. The Vikings did it. Most all of your super early finishes in Europe were about the same way. Then you can see, I said, you get everything down nice and snug. Like I said, you don't have to over torque them. And there you go, slingshot ready for action. I am no professional by no means, but they are fun. We used to love taking our slingshots and the Nerf balls, and we would go around and shoot each other with those in the house for fun. The little Nerf balls, you don't really have to worry about them hurting anything. If you don't want to do walnut here, if you don't want to use a piece of wood here, you could take a washer that's a fender washer that is big enough to fit this screw and roll one edge over on itself to make your pinch block for the top. I just like using wood pieces. I think it looks nice. I did use a little bit of my black epoxy to fill the crack in on that side. I left a small crack in the back. It's not going to go anywhere with that Dutchman in there. I had a lot of fun making it, and in reality, it's probably a 5 or 6 hour job to build something like this. The super elastic bands from slingshot.com I think are like $5 or $6. You know, a little bit of time, few parts, and less than $10, and you're into a super awesome made yourself slingshot. It is a great hobby for kids. It's a great hobby for adults like myself that act like kids. Carving included with that. But, you know, like I said, don't limit your carving to figurines or spoons or bowls or flat tensile carving. You know, when you get good at making one thing carving, jump into something else. If you are working on carving and it's fun, but it's just not hitting your giggle switch, move on to something else. Try carpentry. Try dovetails. You want to wreck your brain and wish you would have paid attention to your geometry teacher in school? Learn how to make small dovetail boxes. I love cutting dovetails. But at the same token, it's one of those things like when everything is going right and your dovetails fit together really tight and clean and it's all amazing, you're happy. When something's not quite right, you want to throw the whole damn box across your shop. But my point being, there are no limits to what you can do with carving tools. And it really doesn't take much. I just built this bench for when I do my carving demonstration up at Nesmic's. That is all of my carving chisels and 4 of my carving knives. Right there. The only other really important tools that I will include in that as I'm throwing them across is a good hook knife. These from Beavercraft are great. They're inexpensive. They hold a decent edge and they work well. Um, if you've got deeper pockets and a feel for really good high quality, these Mora hook knives are ridiculously sharp. They hold an edge great. I done 4 spoons with this already, and I've only had to strop this once. That's amazing for me. These are springy, so they have some give. Any of your carving woods, these things they're pudding. uh, Again, you can buy this set for less than one of these knives, though. So, like I said, if you're just getting started, or if it's something you're trying to get back into, the Beavercraft is great. If you've already got some tools and you're really showing some interest in it, and it's something you want to do, look at Mora. And eventually here, when I get my pages set up, I'll send you some links to some of the other companies I have. I love these. I've had these for years. What I will show you, though, is the big difference. So this is Beavercraft's straight lay carver. This is the other company's straight lay carver. They're practically the same size carver. Now, I'm not super old, so don't say I am, but I'm starting to get arthritis in my hands because I run carvers, chainsaws. I've got tennis elbow really bad. These carvers are amazing. These are about the same quality as Mora. They're really expensive, but the handles are small. I can grab this and not have to like force my hand to hold this. This fits in the hands nice. Beavercraft did a great job making nice, big, bulky handles. These and this one, I can't even tell you where. I know these were quite expensive because I want to say this was like $40 a decade ago when I bought this. Super expensive, really good quality, hold a great edge, but I cannot like grip this anymore. I ended up talking to a gentleman the other day who takes some wire, like some heavy cordage, and wraps around these, and then takes a piece of inner tube and goes over top of that. And I might try that because I love these knives. I've had them for a very long time. And lastly, you need a strop, which Beavercraft gives you a strop. And pick this up, granted at my buddy's shop at Nesmic's. It's just a ceramic honing rod. And if you've got those things, you can do just about anything in the carving world and then some. And if you really want to get fancy, these are like $20 on Amazon. Get a spoke shave and a hand plane. But your basic carving sets that you're going to need, even if you go with Mora and you get a small J-hook hook knife or a large hook knife and one medium carver, you're still going to be right around $100. This whole set, I think, is $30 from Beavercraft. Not gonna lie, they're not the same quality, but this is still a really good set. I still use this set just like I use my other ones. So there really is no bad carving knife as long as you can sharpen them. And Beavercraft even has books on how to sharpen them. Oh. But that's the end of the slingshot videos. Maybe when it's not like 4 degrees outside, I'll pull my slingshot pouch out and we'll take some shots out of it and see how this thing does. And get out in the barn and get some pigeons this summer. Hey, I hope you all have a great day. I hope you guys have enjoyed my slingshot series. Uh, and if there's anything else you want to see, any questions you have on any of the tools I use, or like how I built my shave horse, or just anything in general, I am here. I'm trying to post often enough to. I'm not good at this algorithm shit, and I really don't care about it either. But uh, the videos I make are just as much for me as it is for you guys. I just put them out there so y'all can see. Uh, I don't know. Have a great night. Shut these damn phones off. Put some tools in your hand. Go make a mess. Go have some fun. Learn a new skill. Y'all have a great one. Thanks.